Hey, it's JC Bear. We're tackling insider threats today. We got Tom Kirkham here with the CEO of Kirkham Iron Tech. Uh, Tom's the perfect person for us to talk to about insider threats with his wealth of knowledge. Tom, can you explain to me what an insider threat is and why it's a significant challenge for organizations?
Oh, absolutely. So, insider threats are composed of two different types of insider. One of them is malicious insiders. That's typically what most people think of when they hear insider threats, and these are obvious. These are a disgruntled employee that is either hacking and stealing documentation or letting hackers into the network or whatever their motive and objective might be, but they do it with intent to cause harm, financial losses, whatever to the company, embarrassment, whatever their grief is, or making money, whatever it may be. That's obvious. The more common insider threat, much more common, is what is known as non-malicious insiders. These are people that let hackers into the network, into servers, into their own computer unintentionally. They get conned or scammed typically into letting the hacker get into the network. The by far most ransomware attacks are due to non-malicious insiders. That an insider has let them in. And it could be most cons are like this. It's a victim that gets convinced that they're talking to somebody on the phone or their computer says they have a virus and they grant access or give the hacker information that allows them to perform the attack. And then they just take it from there. It is without intent. They use psychological manipulation, um, social engineering, but at the end of it all, it's just a con job. That's it. It's just a con. It's like a street con, a one-on-one street con. The difference is they're typically done high volume at scale now with AI, deep fakes, carefully targeted emails that AI has generated, and they can do these personalized email con jobs at scale now. So everybody should assume that if you get an email from your boss and it doesn't sound like something your boss would ask you to do, or it doesn't sound like his tone, like today we had our customer experience manager send an email to accounting representing him that said, please send me an aged AR and aged AP report. That is maybe the AR report, but the AP report is obviously somebody in the company doesn't know us. It's not that we don't give out the accounts payable report, but just because of the nature of our company, we don't really have accounts payable. It's not meaningful. So that's the non-malicious insider part of it.
Yeah, I get about maybe four emails a day of you asking me for my cell phone number, and it
You
cracks me up
do,
every time.
yeah, you do get a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
and that's a good point,
yeah.
Jason, because you're relatively new.
Mhm.
So that is something that they look for because the newer people, maybe especially, the newer people may not talk to me every day. You don't talk to me every day.
Right.
And you don't know my personality. You don't know what would be something I would request. So that's why you're being targeted a little bit more. But don't forget,
Yeah.
it's all due to artificial intelligence, I would guess. I don't think you're personally being targeted, although an argument could be made that since I'm being personally targeted and the company is being specifically targeted, everybody there should be vigilant and understand that they could be personally being targeted as well.
Right. So how does Kirkham Iron Tech tackle insider threats, and what measures do you recommend for other companies?
Well, our the vast majority of these can be stopped through implementing a culture of security being job one. In other words, you don't compromise security in the name of productivity and efficiency. Okay. This is an important distinction to think about. When we're trying to prevent hacks, we know from the research that if you do nothing more than implement a continuous cybersecurity awareness program, you will cut your risk in half. Most attacks involve some sort of social engineering or a con job, and just increasing the awareness of these types of cons, people will much more be able to spot these con jobs, and they don't fall for them. In implementing security first, and when I say security is job one, I want you to think about it this way. Some people, many of you out there listening, may be thinking, well, I'm going to have to do something about our cybersecurity. I know we don't do cybersecurity awareness training. We think it won't happen to us. Why would anybody want to target us? And all the other excuses for not taking this seriously. And just remember, the vast majority of attacks are to small to medium sized businesses and to persons, individuals, even home users. So the thought that why would anybody want to attack you is meaningless. Everybody has private information. Everybody's data can be held hostage for a ransom. And that's the best thing that you can do. But going back to that culture thing, I want you to flip IT on its head. The most effective thing that I've discovered over the years is when you make that transition from I'm going to add better cybersecurity into my IT stack or my IT infrastructure or whatever. I want you to reverse the thinking on that. I want you to make security job one, and all the things that you need to implement to protect you, your company, your employees, your vendors, your customers from being hacked. And then add back in all of the IT infrastructure and servers and getting accounting done and getting marketing done and sales done. I want you to add that back in. That's when you do it that way, when you reverse that thinking in your head, only then have you made security job one. Okay. Now that's going to take care of the non-malicious attacks. Then if you embed security being job one in your culture, you're ready to tackle the other elements such as malicious insider threats. And this is establishing a culture of identifying disgruntled or toxic employees. Okay. When a company is forced to let someone go, or even if they quit, you've got to have clear and concise procedures to follow in order to turn off everything they have access to at the company as soon as possible. Because it's not like, when somebody leaves of their own volition, um, it's reasonable to assume that they have no reason to attack the company or attack anybody in the company or steal customers or anything like that. But just the access itself could still be compromised, right? So you got to plug those holes. It's a zero trust policy in that why leave anything open just because somebody left that is non-malicious? It's about tightening up all of the security there. But if you've got the culture designed in such a way to where toxic behavior is not tolerated and it's recognized and everybody knows what to look for, even disgruntled people, complaining about salary or why are we doing this when that makes absolutely no sense? Everybody's got a feeling for what that is. Everyone knows what right and wrong is. And if you get the culture right, you're going to find, and it takes work. You have to invest time, money, and energy into this. It takes work, but everyone knows that the overall good of the organization and the clients and everyone else that they care about, the vendors and colleagues and everything, are much better served from a security perspective if everyone is aware what to look for and bring that to attention, run it into your normal escalation policies. It is part of the risk to the company. That's all
It's
I got
good
to say about
information.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's some good information.
Yeah. It's really, it's sometimes you think, well, I don't want to be a tattletale. That's more often than not, you're helping yourself because you're helping the overall good of the culture. Allowing and permitting and allowing toxic behavior to continue means it's more than just that individual or that group of individuals that's exhibiting this toxic behavior, but those that are just listening and failing to respond are almost as guilty of not addressing the problem, because it's a problem that needs to be nipped in the bud and a solution found for us. Sometimes this disgruntledness may be just simply a misunderstanding of policies and procedures or historical relationships or overall objectives and missions that the company may have, that they don't see how it all works in the big picture. It doesn't make them wrong, but grumbling about it rather than being direct about it festers, and it creates that negative environment. And all companies have this, okay? They all do. But the degree in which you're willing to tolerate it can end up being reflected into a malicious insider hack the longer it festers. So it's about culture, leadership, management, and keeping everybody focused on the ball. What's the objective? What's your job's objective? My objective is to serve everyone in the company. My objective is to take care of all the stakeholders in the company, clients, vendors, the community itself, certainly all of our colleagues, into just making everything better. That's my guiding principles. And for you, it'd be the same thing. How do you best serve everybody else in the company? And if you start really thinking about that, uh, that goes a long ways to preventing that toxicity that can fester and become a much, much bigger problem. And I highly recommend taking a look at servant leadership principles if you haven't already done so.